Hey guys, Robin here, and welcome to another movie review. Yeah. So today, I'm going to be reviewing a um a spoof movie, but a little bit of backstory. Okay. So there's no doubt that a lot of you are aware of the 1980 smash hit Airplane, which was which was a spoof, which was spoofing the 70s disaster movie cycle, including spoofing the airport movies and Saturday Night Fever. Basically, if it was popular at the time, it gets referenced here, except for Star Wars. But there's plenty of Star Wars references in the Airplane sequel. But what you may not have known is that Airplane was not the first disaster spoof that Paramount made. Now, whereas Airplane came out in 1980, when the 70s disaster cycle was pretty much dead, I think the only movie that came out of that year was When Time Ran Out, and that movie was awful. But anyways, Paramount's first disaster spoof was released 4 years earlier in 1976, and that movie is The Big Bus. Yep, The Big Bus. Now, this now is very hard to see anything because it's stupid glare, but yeah, this is The Big Boss, starring Stockard Channing, who some of you may know from Grease, as well as Joseph Bologna, who is also in a show. Well, Joseph Bologna, Bologna, basically pronounce it however you want. Now, now this Uh, now this actually has more wit to it than Airplane, but since Airplane I actually brought in more people and made more money, people always talk about Airplane, but not too many people talk about The Big Bus. Now, the titular Big Bus is a double decker is a double decker articulated bus that is powered by nuclear energy. So yeah, it's a huge double decker articulated nuclear powered bus, and a lot of stuff goes wrong even before the bus's maiden voyage from New York to Denver starts out. During a press conference is being given, and a bomb explodes inside the development facility right after the bus is loaded with nuclear fusion rods for fuel. Probably got that wrong since I don't know a whole lot on nuclear energy, but my grandpa on my dad's side knows a lot. Maybe I'll try and get a video of him. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, but however, Dan Torrance, who is Joseph Bologna / Bologna's character, um, he doesn't have the best reputation because apparently in 1972, a bus he was co-piloting got trapped on top of a mountain, and and his co-driver survived by eating the passengers, whereas Dan, in his own words, ate the seats, ate the luggage, and the floor mats, just like they told him to do in training. And and but everyone thinks, but it doesn't matter how many people he didn't eat. All that this crowd of bus drivers at the bus station believes is like you yourself said you ate a foot because his co-driver made a stew and didn't tell Dan that there was human parts in it, and Dan somehow ate an entire human foot without noticing, and he's like, you eat one lousy foot and they call you a cannibal. What a world. Yeah, and the bus drivers get like irate towards him. However, his to-be co-pilot Shoulders, who is named that because he is prone to blacking out, and by blacking out I mean that and by blacking out I mean that he'll just go ooh for minutes at a time. Anyway, Shoulders manages to fend off the other bus drivers. I'm not even kidding. By grabbing a milk carton and smashing it open on the bar, on the bar counter, and the bartender is like, "Look out! He got a broken milk carton." And then, and then the driver that called Dan a cannibal, he breaks something, and I was like, "Is that a stick of dynamite?" Because it was a cylindrical object with a piece of string coming out, and I'm like, "Is that a piece of dynamite?" And then the bartender's like, "Look out, he got a broken candlestick." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And there's even this one scene where Dan is in the cemetery talking to his father who died in a crash. Wouldn't be I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but I would not be surprised if it was also a bus crash. There's this one part where he's at his father's grave speaking to his deceased father. However, he soon ends up having to shout to his deceased father because he's apparently at the cemetery on the one day of the year that every single person who has ever had, but he apparently, but he soon wound up having to shout at his dead father because apparently every single person who has a relative or friend buried in that graveyard was there that day to talk to their deceased friend or relative, and yeah, and now the woman here, Kitty Baxter, is actually Dan's ex-girlfriend. It's actually Dan's ex-girlfriend, and her father convinces her to put their past feelings aside, and convince Dan to work, and he does. Now, and let me tell you, the chemistry between Dan and Kitty and Dan and Shoulders is real. There's some actual like chemistry there because I buy that Dan and Shoulders are good friends. I buy that Dan and Kitty had a relationship that didn't work out. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, you may be asking yourself, why was there a bomb at the bus station? Well, because this bus is powered entirely by nuclear power, and its success would lead to more interest in nuclear power in vehicle engines. Naturally people whose entire fortunes rely on fossil fuels are not too happy about this possibility, so are not too happy about this ability. So, and there's one character who is named Iron Man, and no, he is not the Marvel superhero. He is called Iron Man because he spends literally the entire movie in an iron lung, and his dim-witted assistant is played by Stuart Margolin, who you may know, for having a minor role in another 1976 movie, Future World. Yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah, Stuart Margolin's name is there, and it is also it's somewhere on here. And now, anyway, now, now eventually, the bomb problem is fixed, but unfortunately, the director of the whole project is injured in in such a way that he cannot be moved at all. Like he literally, like until the bus departs, he is literally like laying on the ground for a few days in a parking lot, being tended to by Larry Hagman, who plays the parking lot doctor. But anyway, so all the problems get fixed, and eventually Cyclops is rolled out, and eventually Cyclops is rolled out of its hangar, of its giant building where it was made, to the to the tune of Sprach the Sousa, probably pronounced that horrifically wrong, which is the music from 2001: A Space Odyssey that goes dun dun boom 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 boom. Yeah. But anyway, one little thing you'll notice in the scene is that the bus is that this the door the bus drives out of is it's like barely tall enough for the bus to drive out under it. Like it's probably like this much space between the roof of the bus and the top of the door the bus is driven out of. But once the bus is fully out of the building, all of a sudden it has an observation dome, like as you can see right here. And yeah, there's the guy in the iron lung. He's not actually on the bus in the movie itself. He's at home in his mansion. Yeah. And yeah. So yeah, the bus suddenly has an observation dome that it would not have been able to exit the building without. It's just it's a comedy movie, so yeah. And anyways, she and the passengers board the bus, and each passenger has their own issue because there is a married couple, there's a neurotic married couple who are waiting for their divorce to finalize, a disgraced veterinarian, a disgraced disbarred veterinarian, a pompous priest who has lost his way, like a woman, like there's this real old woman who is delighted to be sat next to this priest, and the priest is like, ah, yes, ah, yes, and he's like all like just saying stuff like like if there is a god, why? If there is a god, surely he would have given you, a frail old woman, a window seat, but no, he gave you an aisle seat. Where is your god now, old woman? Now I'm just paraphrasing that, but he actually does ask for that, and the old woman is like it, and the old woman is like it. Gee, I'm sorry I asked. Yeah, yeah, and there's also let's see, there's also a man with 6 months who only had 6 months to live, and more problems arise, like a bomb goes off on Cyclops that damages the brakes, so the truck can't really stop all that well. Yeah. There's also and also as the poster would imply, apparently at one point the bus is literally teetering off the side of a cliff. Yeah, apparently the articulation part is not is yeah, apparently the bus being an articulated bus. Now, for those who don't know, an articulated bus, it's a bus that it's a bus that has like the middle of the bus can like turn. Like the middle of the bus has okay. An articulated bus is a bus that is very long, but the middle of it can kind of like compress a little bit to like help the bus go around corners. And so yeah, anyways, for this for the climax of the film, apparently the bus being articulated is completely ignored. This bus also has an onboard swimming pool and a bowling alley, which 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 were actually separate sets. In fact, the bus itself, while they were filming, it was actually two separate vehicles that would drive to the filming location, and then they would be joined together. And and as part and to promote the movie, the big bus prop actually did drive from LA to San Diego. Yeah. And and the bus was actually in the bicentennial parade in LA in 1976. So, in fact, this bus even had a fancy dining room called the Bicentennial Dining Room. Yeah, this movie sure lets you know. So, yeah, this movie is certainly as a product of its time. Well, considering all the fashion, the cars, the way people dress, like, like the way that the bus is painted, the way it kind of looks. I mean, yeah. It is just such a 70s movie, and I love it. That even at one point where we see an old '54 Chevy pickup driving along, that the driver had to like veer off the road when a boulder in front of him, crashes down in front of him. And long story short, he ends up and long story short, he ends up ramping the truck off of a a I don't know, I don't know, apparently it's filmed very strangely, but the truck goes flying off a higher level and winds up crashing through the window into the lounge that is right above the cockpit. So, in addition to all this madness, the bus now has a pickup truck sticking out of the roof. Yeah, this is just it's a great little comedy. I actually really love it. Like, if you ask me, I mean, I mean, it's nowhere near like, I mean, it's not as funny. Well, I mean, like I said, Airplane is more funny, but The Big Boss has less wit, and the characters feel more developed. They're not just PTSD addled pilot. He's an adult pilot. He is or cute flight attendant with a mousy voice. It's or a doctor who takes everything literally. It's or a pilot who has a weird thing for gladiator movies, Turkish prisons, and yeah, he actually acts and yeah, stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, in some ways, the Big Boss, the writing is better. The acting is also a bit better. Like I believe that, well, as I said before, I believe that the two bus drivers are good friends. Yeah. Yeah. Now I really do love this movie, and and apparently, but unfortunately, after they filmed the movie, the big bus itself was completely scrapped, which that sucks. I mean, yeah, it it actually looks really cool. I mean, yeah. So yeah, that's my review of the Big Boss. I do recommend it. The full movie is not on YouTube, but I will include a link in the description to this movie's trailer, which 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 totes this movie as being the comedy event of the year. Oh yeah, one more thing. This particular print of the movie, which is the 1982 print from Paramount Gateway Video. I don't know, but the opening credits and the closing credits, the screen is compressed, kind of like how a widescreen, kind of like how widescreen works, the but instead of like, but it's not like full screen widescreen. No, N- no. I mean, so it's like it's like a full screen image that is compressed, and instead of plain black bars at the top and bottom of equal size, there's a thick one on top and a thinner one below that. And not only that, the bars are both green and they have this weird pattern thing going for them. I mean, which apparently the movie was shot in like a certain aspect ratio, but I'm like, but it's kind of like odd that they did that because like literally this like the green pattern widescreen thing, it literally only happens during the movie's opening and closing credits. Like that's it. Like which kind of odd, kind of defeats the purpose of it. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Just it's a good movie. Although although I do kind of have a problem with the ending, but if you watch this movie, but I'm not gonna say what my problem is because you'll just watch the movie. Yeah, and yeah. But basically, if I was to remake this movie, what happened at the very end of the film would basically lead into a second climax. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, this movie is 88 minutes. It's rated PG, so you can watch it with your kids. Yeah, and yeah. So if you love cheesy spoof movies like this, and you've already exhausted everything that Pat Probst or or the Zucker Abrams Zucker team produced, definitely check out The Big Boss. It is a great comedy. I really like this movie. In fact, I like it so much it's actually on my personal favorite shelf. But yeah, anyways, yeah. Thank you all for thank you all for watching seeing this. So yeah, thank you all for watching my review of The Big Boss, and I will see you all soon in the near future. Peace.